for joining us this afternoon. My name is Elijah Kamal. I'm 19 years old, and I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are Undoing Youth Institutional Racism, a program of American Friends Service Committee. We are with local youth speaking out about personal impacts and violence in our communities. We must remember that the young are wise and the wise are young, yet we are not heard from, so now it is time to hear our truth. We are the young people in the Twin Cities, and we are also future leaders of our communities. The proposed safety plans by our city leaders like Mayor Frey do not include our voices. As youth, we are most directly impacted by the violence in our communities. We need to be at every decision-making table. The problem is that in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, where our communities are being most affected and the increase of violence has been unprecedented. The proposed plans mainly center the increase of police funding instead of what they should be focusing on, which is increasing resources and passing youth-influence policies. The omission of our youth voice in these proposals further isolate us from the decision-making tables. We are asking community leaders, decision makers, teachers, educators, nonprofits, and leaders and lawmakers to, one, in terms of safety, we are asking that we not rely on police intervention at the threat of violence. Both currently and historically, police presence has not equaled safety. We need to include creative approaches to safety that are personalized to each individual community. A generalized approach is not applicable in every situation. In terms of resources, we are demanding a consistent flow of resources that are distributed equitably and are integrated into a young person's life before they are introduced to the criminal justice system. Two, in terms of resources, we are demanding, or in terms of language, we are surrounding the violence affecting the youth. We feel that language is too narrowly focusing on the deficits in our community and not enough on our strengths. Creativity, ambitions, we are asking that we are being seen fully and embraced for our inherent leadership abilities. In terms of policy surrounding violence affecting youth, we feel that the primary focus is on punishment and not enough on addressing the underlying systematic issues caused by the lack of resources in our community. The violence currently unfairly impacts black youth. We are asking for the intentional space to be created at the decision-making tables for all youth to influence policy decisions regarding violence and its impact on us. In terms of youth leadership, we are asking decision makers to be consistent with the efforts at reinvesting in leadership opportunities for the youth. Opportunities such as paid fellowship, internships at all levels of nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations, and government offices. Next, in regards to youth leadership, we are also asking our peers to step in to their leadership potential. This means that we not only stand out, even when your immediate environment tells you to sit down and fit in. We belong at the decision-making tables. Our voices are needed if we want to see real, long-lasting change. In terms of trauma, we are demanding for youth-led, trauma-informed, and healing-centered engagement. We have a voice, and we can speak for ourselves. Our trauma is real. We are experiencing systematic trauma from policing, education, healthcare, and rationalized violence, both historic and current. And the misuse of resources in our community. As the youngest leaders in our society, we demand that we are invited to the decision-making tables to influence where these resources will be distributed. Here today speaking, we have Malachi Milton Jackson, Asia Marie Ross, Tajel Freeman, Louis Blaze, Umaran Hailu, Keenan Dickerson, and myself, Elijah Kamal.
Elijah, can you spell your name for us, please?
Sure. Elijahkamau.
And do you go to North High School or Patrick Henry? Or?
No, I went to Park High School in Cottage Grove, Minnesota.
And where are you now? In college? Or?
No, I plan on attending college this fall.
Where at?
MCTC, Minneapolis Community and Technical College.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
If you can say and spell your name as you come up, just so we have that.
My name is Andwale. How we spell it's Andwele.
My name is Kanandi Mack, and how it's spelled is Kanandi.
We are here because there's power in the youth.
We are
here because there's power in the youth. But yet, we are not heard enough. So now it's time to hear the truth.
Youth leadership.
Youth leadership.
Hello, everyone. My name is Malachi Millen Jackson, and I'm 19 years old. The way you spell that, my name Malachi, M-A-L-A-K-I, dash, M-I-L-T-O-N, last name Jackson, J-A-C-K-S-O-N. All throughout my life, I've been told by my family, teachers, coaches, and even strangers that I lead by example, that I'm a natural-born leader.
You got it.
All right. I'm a natural-born leader. People that have told me this in my life were right. I am a natural-born leader. If I say something or I want to do something, others are going to follow. I'm a natural-born leader who was racially profiled at 7-8, targeted and picked on by school staff in the 7th grade, constantly looking over my shoulder since the 8th grade, and all throughout that, and always wondering through the back of my head if I'm going to live to see tomorrow. All of these things have occurred in my life, all while I've showed the most respect and kindness to anyone and everyone around me. A natural-born leader with no skill, with no opportunities to hone the skills of a true leader. It took too long to realize that these opportunities were needed, so we, the youth, present these demands so that we present these demands as youth, advocating for the youth, our future leaders. Merge the kiddie table with the adult table. Allow us to inform the work that affects us, the youth. And stop pushing us away as if we don't know what's going on around us, because remember, one day we will fill the shoes that you walk in now.
First, we want to honor our friend, Keenan Dickerson, who was arrested for exercising their First Amendment rights. We also want to honor all young people who have lost their lives to gun violence. Let us honor them both with a moment of silence. Language. At 13 years old, I was put in situations that no 13-year-old should be. I was bullied, unsupported, underrepresented, labeled, and adultified. For that reason, we demand language. Language used is language that humanizes the person or people who may have caused harm. Call people by their names, not what you think they are. Not thugs, protesters, or rioters, but people. We also demand that children, teenagers, and young adults are identified just as that, instead of calling 18-year-old girls and boys men and women.
Trauma. When you speak on the word trauma, and you don't cover all the bases regarding this word, which has had such a silent significance in our society for generations and left almost untouched and unvisited, you can expect to see it lurk within our daily lives as we know it, with no questions asked. Stop the subliminal victim blaming, check in and connect with one another on how we can create steps to not only heal, but move forward. Be comfortable in your own skin. Look at one another, not with the eyes of pity, but with the eyes of self-induced guilt. Look with the lens of hope and genuine aspirations, consistent reassurance of the demons that plague our everyday lives. Let's incorporate the very key to thrive physically, mentally, and spiritually: love, the notion left forever unmatched. Check in and tell someone how much you care about them, how proud you are of them, that their efforts are not going unnoticed, how happy you are that they exist. When someone tells you that they had a bad day, don't just generalize it and say, everybody gonna go through it, everyone going through their own thing. Because not only is that counteractive, but it's also discouraging. When in reality, all that person really needed was love and encouragement. In my life, words and language have had a huge impact on me. Growing up in a multilingual house of about 4 languages, you can learn a bit about how to express your love, how to uplift others simply by your words, and realizing that words can leave such a significance at a depth left forever unparalleled. I can remember waking up early in the morning as a 7-year-old, going to school, excited to see kids, a classroom full of kids, happy, having fun, showing love, having a teacher who embraces you, and everything that comes with you. From moving to St. Paul to Cottage Grove, it turned to be a completely different environment. All eyes on you. Getting looked at up and down when you go to sharpen your pencil. Listening to how people talk to and about each other showed me that there ain't no love, and if it was there, it was never genuine. I remember gym teachers betting on us, the black kids specifically, based off of our physique. I also remember my 8th grade choir teacher telling me to sharpen up because here in America, we act in a certain manner. I remember substitute teachers manhandling me and ripping my shirt simply because I dared to correct them on how to say my name. I remember being ridiculed by a science teacher for not showing up and being productive, even though I just lost a brother to gun violence the night before. My identity as a black male oftentimes meant that not even a single ounce of concern is even extended to me. I remember when our school dean, the only black employee working in that building, who gave a voice to not only students of color, but everyone in general. The only man I could truly speak myself out to, the only man that could walk those halls that even got a glimpse of the real Elijah Kamau, not just the one who showed up at 8:30 in the morning every day. Keeping us a part of a program that truly had interest in the young black population, where nobody even batted an eye to folks like me, who talk like me, who look like me, who think like me, and who dress like me. Just for this man to be taken away from us without adequate reasoning, and yet you wonder why the cycle continues. I give all these examples to show that how we use language in our everyday lives will touch our ears in a manner that can literally mean life or death. We demand to stop the subliminal victim blaming, check in with one another, look one another in the eye, and co-create a plan to not only thrive, but move forward. Next, we urge for that consistent reassurance, which is vital in creating an open code with one another. Even just a simple, I love you, or I value you, can go a long way, because the ugly truth, a lot of us go to sleep without a single drop of love every night, and that'll cut you deep over time. So every day of your life, I want you to choose life. I want you to choose the life, and I want it to be the very delicacy, the very structure that makes who we are so unique. Uplifting one another, keeping it real. That's the only way we'll thrive as a collective. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you've never been through it. I guess you're just one of the people I'm saying this to and not for.
Safety.
Safety. I don't like having to think about gunshots, but I hear them all the time where I live. I hate that people my age are getting hurt in my community. I don't like being scared of gunshots all of the time. We need more African American police officers from the community in the community. We also need to know where these guns are coming from and stop it there. I'm pretty sure these guns are not being made in Minneapolis, on the north side, or south side, or in St. Paul. We deserve to feel safe in our community, and I mean everyone.
My name's Asia Marie. I'm 25 years old from St. Paul, Minnesota. And oftentimes, over-policing leads to unintended consequences for our youth. Traumatic police encounters, wrongful convictions, and oftentimes causing more harm than help, which is why we demand that police do not overreach or hyper-surveil young people in our communities in response when tragedy happens in our communities. We ask for consistent partnership with community members from the entire correction system to ensure positive, diverse redirection instead of negative reinforcement. Thank you.
Policy.
My name is Umran Hailu, and I'm 17 years old. That is spelled U-M-E-R-A-N space H-A-I-L-U. I have lived in South Minneapolis for basically all of my life. As a child, I was always provided with the luxury of being and feeling safe. Even though South Minneapolis wasn't considered to be the most utopian place, I felt comfortable in knowing that my community was united. In the past year, I can genuinely say that that luxury has been taken away from me. On May 25th, 2020, my world was turned upside down along with many others across the nation. The death of George Floyd wasn't only unbelievably tragic, but eye-opening to see where our community, city, state, and country was at on undoing institutionalized racism. Our world broke out into protests and riots as a response in hopes to make people in positions of power understand the depths of our flawed systems. These efforts seem to be working. The officers involved got arrested, charged, and later put on trial. Well, at least one of them. People were hopeful that this system would be changing for the better. Until April 11th, 2021, when Dante Wright was shot and killed by a Brooklyn Center police officer. It felt like we took 1 step forward and 5 steps back. I kept asking myself, why are we not learning from our past? Why do we keep making the same mistakes over and over again? That's when I realized fear. Fear is the reason for the cycle of police brutality. Fear is the reason for the cycle of police brutality. Fear is the thing controlling our jaded systems. When I look at a police officer, all I can see is the gun that they carry on their side and not the human being underneath their uniform. Just their gun. I know this might sound crazy, but through history we've been taught and shown how our simple movements turn fatal in a matter of moments. Going to get some candy for the gas station turned fatal for Trayvon Martin. Playing in his local park turned fatal for Tamir Rice. Standing in his grandmother's backyard turned fatal for Stephon Clark. Even just being asleep turned fatal for Breonna Taylor. Now, how could I stand in front of someone who could easily take my life and say that I'm not afraid? Afraid that I'll be the next name everyone will be chanting. It's the cycle. We are afraid to be the next victim, and they are afraid of the power that our skin holds. That's why we propose these demands to try and heal our community. 1. We demand that patrol officers shouldn't be able to carry guns on duty in melanated communities across the Twin Cities. We demand the establishment of a better and healthier relationship with officers and citizens, especially with people of color. We shouldn't be stuck living in fear anymore. A change needs to happen, and I believe that change starts with us. Thank you.
My name is Louis Blaze. That is Lewieeblaze. I am 23 years old, and I am born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota. When I was 16, the state wanted to send me to prison. I was young, hurt, and lost, but they wasn't compassionate with my decision. My public defender told me, hey, they said you only looking at 5 years. I went to my JDC cell as a teen in much fear, drowned in tears. Fear, as you just heard my sister state. It's the state of emergency that we are all in. It's the state of emergency that I was in for years and years, not being told what my birthrights were, not being reminded what self-care is. What does self-confidence mean? What does self-worth mean? There wasn't a lot of outlets in the media or in the music that we hear or other resources for our community to serve our own community where people who actually got my best interests at heart could let me know, look, you are valuable, you are lovable, you are powerful, and you are important. So now what do we see today? We see a lot of individuals growing up in this lifestyle with these false stigmas that's just stirring around in their mind continuously, not understanding how valuable we are. And one thing about life, whatever you won't value, you will violate. So we out here, we violating ourselves. We're violating each other. We're violating in these different people, places, and things that we're hooking up into. And that was me. At 16, I committed an aggravated robbery. Food was low at home. I was growing up with financial devastation. Growing up, my family impacted by mass incarceration, impacted by gun violence, impacted by generational trauma, on and on and on, not understanding how to address these issues and actually heal. And that's where it led me to. But I wasn't confined by that story. By the grace of God, by the grace of community and people within my circle who actually believed in me, they helped me get to the other side of my story. I found a school that provided a resource for me to do what I love, make music, write poetry. And my music talents led me out to perform across the nation. I was able to speak at places like Stanford University, Harvard University. And for one time in my life, I started to have a dream, have a vision. Well, I'll tell you where that vision has got me now. I am the founder and the CEO of my own company, N4 Collective. And this stands for N to the fourth power. And these four powers are new mindsets. Let's teach our young people self-care, healing and transformation. Education starts at home. We can't change the world unless we change ourselves. Our second power, new media. That's self-expression. Understand, what do you love to do? What are you good at? What does the world need? And understand how you can get paid for it and provide a living and live within your purpose, your passion, and your peace. New leadership. The wise are young and the young are wise. We have experiences too that we are learning from, right? And we understand that this must be an intergenerational movement in order for us to truly thrive and not only survive in our communities. So let's come together, but let's understand that young people deserve to be at these decision-making tables. And let's respect them when they create their own tables. Let's intentionally invest into what they're passionate about. And last but not least, new narratives. When I was young, I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be a hooper. Right? A lot of these different narratives that we get thrown at us as young black males, but I realized that I can be much more. And now that I'm working on getting to the other side of my story, I ask you as community members to help all of our young people that are struggling right now and that they just need one person to believe in them. Let's help everybody get to the other side of their story. And that's my piece.
Resources. Hello, my name is Tajel Freeman. I am 17 years old and a rising senior at De La Salle High School. It's spelled Tajelle, last name Freeman. Okay. I have recently led and organized the March for Equity, which has opened the doors for me to address the inequities that I see in my school and my community. The need for this initiative is rooted in the underrepresentation of black excellence and success in schools, media, and even households. Students need long-term support from people they can trust and are devoted to helping them succeed. Students not only need long-term care, but they need trauma-informed care. In a more equitable school and community, there would be programs that tackle these issues and others that are holding back students from the success that they could be achieving. I am speaking from experience when I say that I did not have the support in school that I should have. If it was not for the long-term care that I received in my household, I would not be as educationally inclined as I am now. When I look around my community, I see students just like me. I see students with the same amount of potential. I see students who received less than I have in terms of support. Students who were told the opposite of, you can do anything that you put your mind to. I see students with the power to change the world, and I truly believe that with the proper guidance and support, they will see this for themselves as well. This is why we demand that state-funded organizations that are for the community are to be led by the community. Also, we demand a revaluation of budget cuts in schools that are getting rid of valuable staff. Lastly, we demand an increase in the percentage of black teachers in Minnesota and ask ourselves why it is only 1.4%. Thank you very much.
I didn't state this earlier. They talked about who they represent in their communities. I represent my people. So you've heard our demands. We need these demands to be met because if we want to avoid another situation or a parent has to bury one of us due to gun violence or any type of violence for that matter, then our voices should be the first things thought of and listened to. We're smart enough to understand what goes on around us, even though our brains are still developing. However, we can't learn to overcome these challenges if the developed keep pushing us to the side saying, stay in a child's place. It needs to get to a point where years down the line, our lawmakers, educators, nonprofit and community leaders, and our policy creators reach out to us in order to form these, new policies, get these ideas that affect us, instead of us reaching out to the developed and our observational ideas be dismissed. We are here because there is power in the youth, yet we are not heard enough. So now you've heard the truth.
Yeah, you guys ready for questions?
I'm ready. If you have any questions.
Let's take questions.
Well, I guess I'll start it off, and anybody who wants to answer this, what prompted you to take part in this and come out here today and speak to all of us and put out a news release and everything? So, if you could, whoever wants to answer, it doesn't matter. If you could step to the mic, that would be.
Well, yeah.
And say your name and spell it, because I got here a little bit late. So.
Yeah, my name's Asia Marie, AAZIAMARIE hyphen in between there. We came here today because there's been a lot of talk around youth voice and youth leadership and what the community needs to serve the young people. But often when we see these press releases, they're adults speaking on our behalf. So we really just wanted to come out and share our stories and tell people and tell the community what we want instead of them writing it for us.
Asia Marie, how old are you? Are you in?
I'm 25.
25, okay. And do you mind sharing your last name too?
Ross, R-O-S-S.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I could just add, my name is Tajel again. I feel that there's not enough work towards this, and when I was presented the opportunity, I felt that if I'm not going to do it, then who's going to? And I need to use my voice as a leader for other people, in any way I can. So I feel that me speaking up now is going to prompt other students from other communities to speak out about what they feel and what they see. So, yeah.
My name is Elijah Kamau, ELIJAHKAMAU, and I think one reason that we are all here today is I think we'll just base it off the word accountability, straight up accountability. We put people in these lawmaking positions to protect us, and when we aren't feeling protected, when we go outside, we can't even be comfortable in our own skin because of every single reason that we just talked about. It should go without saying that of course we have to how should I say this? Let our voices be known, because closed mouths don't get fed, basically. I'm going to put it to you like that right now. All right? Closed mouths will not get fed. And if that is the case, then we are going to keep our mouths open. We are going to keep shouting. And we're going to keep roaring. You're going to hear us, All the way coming from Minneapolis, we're going to be heard all over the world. We're touching locations. That's the end goal. Because this is a problem not only here, but as a diaspora. And the diaspora is not only just here, it's everywhere. And if we're just covering the bases here, so then what are we going to do about the people who live across the world, who are in the Caribbean, who are in South America, who are dealing with these same issues that we are dealing with every single day? We're talking for us now, but we're going to cover all those bases, and you'll see.
And can I ask how old you are, Elijah?
I'm 19 years old.
19. Okay, cool.
Is this also a call to action to other young people in other parts of town to be heard, to be bold as a lion, to demand a seat at the table?
Yes.
Yes, I'll speak on that. Really, this is just us unminimizing or maximizing our voice to maximize the voices of our youth, the future.
There we go. How can young people get involved with what you guys are doing?
So we do have our director, Shanae Herbert. She is in the crowd. Or you can also find our youth program specialist, Bryn Crockett. She's also in the crowd. You can speak to them about getting in contact.
To add on, we are here with Youth Undoing Institutional Racism.
Thank you.
You all probably figured this out already from those out at you. You realize you're already your leaders, right? You don't need anybody's permission to do what it is you want to do in the world, right? Take leadership. Just do it, right? And people will follow. That's good. Do it.
If you build it, they will come.
So we have a city councilman over here. What would you like to say to him to help start the process here in Minneapolis?
Merge the kiddie table with the adult table.
Pretty much. Have a round table discussion with the young people.
Thank you.
Say it again. Merge the
kiddie table with the adult table.
I want to just put an emphasis on the resources, you know, with all capital letters, especially as it relates to youth development and youth programming. Young people needing a space that they are comfortable at, needing a space where they can heal, process these emotions, needing a space where they can build their own visions, you know, so capitalize that resources, hashtag cut the check.
And I'll put emphasis on what he said. Notice how he said need, not want. Tend to our needs, not our wants. Thank you.
Another thing. As you come here, I want you to listen, not just hear. Because you can hear anything. We're hearing cars pass by right now, but you're listening to our voice. That's what you need to listen to. You know? There's sounds, but there's also words that connect to those sounds. Put it together. That's what we need to do. Listen, not just hear. I'm tired of hearing, oh, we hear you. No, I need to hear we listen to you.
Listen.
And this is what we're going to do because we
Exact action.
There you go.
We need
There you
action
go.
to the listening. Thank you very much.
Y'all amazing up there. Oh, y'all amazing.
You guys have anything to say? Y'all good?
Any other questions?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, that's good. Great.
How you doing? Good, how are you? Oh, thank you. I know.